Welcome to Bleed Purple, a 10-part podcast about the 125-year history of Tarleton State University. Host Drew Myers will cover Tarleton's rich traditions, speak with notable alumni, and uncover the stories that give Tarleton its lasting legacy. Here's your host, Drew Myers.
Welcome to the Bleed Purple podcast. This is Janice Horak sitting in for podcast host extraordinaire Drew Myers. Through this podcast, we are celebrating 125 years of Tarleton and the people who have shaped the trajectory of the institution. Our guest for this episode will be familiar to not only the Tarleton family, but also all of North Texas, the state of Texas, and the state and national automobile industry. Dr. Sam Pack, a Stephenville native, Tarleton alumnus, entrepreneur, patron of the Dr. Sam Pack College of Business, and of course, a Texas legend. Welcome to Bleed Purple podcast, Dr. Pack. Thank you so much for making the time to be a part of this celebratory podcast for the university.
Thank you for being here. It's an honor to be with you, and we obviously look forward to visiting with you and celebrating the 125th anniversary of Tarleton State University.
Thank you. Well, we want to get started. I mentioned that you are a native of Stephenville.
Native of Stephenville.
What was it like growing up in Stephenville, Texas?
It's unbelievable. I tell people growing up in rural America is very special, and growing up in Stephenville was very special for me because I came from parents that had big families. My mother was from a family of 11, actually 13, 2 are deceased, but 11 that were living. And my father came from a family of 8. So big families, lots of cousins and aunts and uncles, and they said in the city of Stephenville, they said, be careful who you're talking to, because my mother came from the Stone side of the family, and my father came from the Pack. With all those siblings that we talked about, they said, you're going to be talking to somebody that's related to him, so be very careful what you say.
And they still say that today.
Yes. But it was truly an unbelievable experience, and I say that with a lot of gratitude and respect for all of those that made it so special.
What was your happiest moment about growing up in Stephenville? Was there a moment? Was there just a feeling that you'd like to share?
You know, I think the happiest moment was always being with your family. And again, we came from a big family. So my immediate family, there were 6 of us, 5 boys and 1 girl. And everybody thought, well, the girl will be, she'll be spoiled, rotten. Not so. So I think for her, she needed combat pay. And so for all the boys, it was a great time, as we always, I think, had a big family around us. And every weekend, there were aunts and uncles and cousins that were part of the so-called extended family. So wonderful time for all of us.
Well, we know a lot of Packs have come through Tarleton, but what was it like? What was a memory of Tarleton? Probably State College.
Tarleton at that time was a 2-year college, as you will recall. And I tell people, as great as the college is, the university is, the really important thing, as I reflect back on it, was how important it was and how important it is to the community itself. Think about Tarleton and its rich tradition, but think about the impact it's had on the lives of so many different people. And I've said to a number of people, think about where Stephenville would be today if it wasn't for Tarleton. And some people respond by, it would be probably Comanche. So no intent to say that Comanche is not a great city, but obviously it's considerably smaller than the rural area of Stephenville. And Erath County is just very special.
It is, and a center and a hub for that region.
It is. Yeah. And when I was growing up, and probably still is, it was one of the leading dairy producing counties in the state of Texas. And so, my father and mother were entrepreneurs, and I had the privilege of being, again, with a family that really instilled early in our lives the importance of having your own responsibilities. And we all learned at an early age what work meant and how to be involved and how to be engaged and to make a difference.
Well, my next question was about who was the most influential person and what did you learn from that person or those people?
Most influential person early on would have been obviously my immediate family. And of the immediate family, my oldest brother was Bill. And Bill was the most instrumental in, I think, a career change for me, because I grew up in a family where my dad had a number of different businesses, and each of those had its own way of influencing our lives. But when I really grew up, for the most part, working with the family, and we had a grocery store, which I was working in at an early age. Dad sold that business, and I ended up going to work for Piggly Wiggly. And worked for a gentleman by the name of Osborne, and he had a chain of Piggly Wiggly dealerships. And he was very instrumental in a lot of what transpired in my life during my period in high school. So he had said to me, when you're 21, I'm going to give you your own store so that you can run your own store. But I had a change in careers, and the change in career came as a result of my brother. And he's one that was instrumental in the change of career and me getting involved in the finance world. So, early mentor.
There you go. That's a wonderful thing for an older brother to be.
It is. And it's interesting when you look at what has happened during my life and his life as we obviously had a close relationship. He was a mentor of mine, and coincidentally, we ended up marrying sisters.
Really?
How about that? So, yes.
So you really do keep it in the family.
So we really did. And the great thing about that is my parents and my wife's parents were really close friends. So, again, rural America, right?
Right.
Growing up in rural America where people know people and people love and respect one another.
So really quickly, how long have you and Carol been married?
Only 68 years.
Only 68. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Working on that big 7-0. Yeah.
Working on the big 7-0.
That's awesome.
God's blessing.
Yeah. So what are you really are very successful in business and in leadership, and you exemplify those areas so much. But what are some of your successful habits? What do you do on a regular basis that you feel like help you be successful?
I think one of the things that's really been most important throughout my life has been relationships, working together. And my success comes from a high priority of really coming from working relationships, working together. And one of the words that you probably don't hear as often as we should is love. So I have a love for what I do. I am so fortunate to be in a business that is very challenging but very rewarding, and an opportunity to influence a lot of different lives. My business acumen is such that I am very involved, still work 6 days a week, and we have a lot of really great people that I get the privilege of working with every day. And I think many of our team would say to you that our relationship is much like a family. So it's an extended family for us. And our success comes from respecting those individuals, mentoring those individuals, and allowing them to be in a position where they too can have their, if you will, their families involved. We are fortunate because throughout our 45 years in the automotive retail business, we have a number of families where it's been a father, a son, mother, 3 different generations that have worked for us. And so this comes back again to the word relationships, and you're going to hear that word from me more than you would hear probably any other word today because it's so important. But our success comes from, I think, respecting the individuals and, communicating what our responsibilities are. We certainly have a great, if you look at our business model, it's a great business model because it's actually a number of different business models within one. Think about it. New vehicle sales, pre-owned vehicle sales, parts business, service business, collision business, finance business, and many ways it's a lot of different types of businesses dealing with different type personalities, and we have responsibilities, and our responsibilities are to deliver an exceptional experience for our consumers. And in doing so, we want to make sure that we are surrounding ourselves with the best people in the industry, and we've been able to do that. So our leadership is such that we are involved, we delegate, we have a lot of different ways of monitoring performance, and one of the things that might surprise you is we today use a red, yellow, green matrix for performance, and it's an easy way and a quick way for our people to, again, understand where we need to be, quote, spending our time, where we're focusing on our priorities, where we have our strengths and where we have our weaknesses. But we're engaged, and we're engaged with our team. We have 1,023 employees in our Texas operations. We own 6 dealerships in Texas, all in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro, and we co-own 6 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So very busy, love it, can't imagine doing anything else, very involved in our industry, and we work closely with our national associations and our state associations and our metro associations, and we have spent a lot of time really with our business partners, and even though they don't have financial interest in our business, we respect their role that they play, and we try to work closely with them and be good stewards.
Well, I love hearing that you say that being a good leader is being engaged, involved, delegating. Sometimes that's a hard thing to do.
Yes.
A lot of other things that you mentioned about leadership. But in that, a leader has to make hard decisions. Would you like to share one of or the hardest decision you've ever had to make?
I'm going to share 2 difficult decisions, and one's personal and one's business. So most difficult decision that I've ever had to make was one that Carol, my wife, and I had to make. And we have a son that is special needs, and his name is Todd. And the toughest decision that we've ever had to make was to really think about how we're going to handle this situation from a long-term perspective, because you reach the point where you say, we have to make sure that Todd has a life of his own and that he is a highest priority for us. both today and after life for us. So, toughest decision we've ever made was really making the decision to find the right facility for him, and we were fortunate to be able to do so. So I will never forget Labor Day weekend, 1985, and that's the day that we had actually found the right place, Holy Angels Residential Facility in Shreveport, Louisiana, and the day that we admitted Todd to that facility. So, toughest day of my life and toughest day of my wife's life. But it's been God's blessing. It's worked out exceptionally well. And we could spend hours and days and weeks talking about all the great things that's happened as a result of that. And the most difficult decision from business really was making the decision that I made to leave Ford Motor Credit Company and become, if you will, an automobile dealer. And I had spent 18 years with Ford Credit, had an unbelievable career, and in 1979 was a very difficult year for our industry. But we had a situation that I had a dealer in my market that I was responsible for that actually had some financial difficulties, and I was spending most of my days with him trying to help him become solvent. And at nights, I would go back into the office and go through my daily things that needed attention and go through the, if you will, the phone calls that I needed to make the next morning. And so that was September of 79. The morning call was to a gentleman by the name of Lee Jarman, and he said, I need 5 minutes of your time. 5 minutes of my time led to a meeting. The meeting led to a discussion about he wanting me to become his successor. And so that ended up being something that we negotiated for a period of time, and me making a career change. So that's the most difficult business decision.
That was a fateful and wonderful decision.
Fateful and wonderful decision. with lots of challenges and a lot of people saying, you're leaving the comfort of a major company with a great career, and you're leaving it during a very challenging time. Why in the world would you ever do that?
Why not?
Why not? Yeah. So, but it really, one of the reasons was, again, back to Todd, it was because we wanted to make sure that we were in an environment where we were always going to be close to Holy Angels. And in that particular time, we didn't know where Holy Angels really was, but knowing that we wanted to be in Texas.
Right. Awesome. What would you do differently if you had to start all over again? Is there anything?
Great question. I'm asked frequently, and I tell people I wouldn't do anything differently. Really, I mean, you look at all of the things that's happened in life, and you think about how blessed you are. And as we just suggested a moment ago, so blessed to have been married to Carol, the love of my life, for 68 years. So a lot of stability in my life, and spent again, a great career with Ford Credit for 18 years. Been in the retail world for 45. We have a very successful business, and we have a great business team that we have the privilege and pleasure working with. So when I look at the stability in our life, and I think about how fortunate we've been, and all of the different, if you will, different things that have happened where we are in a position to also make a difference in the lives of those that we touch, then I look back and say, I've been blessed.
So, what advice would you give a young Tarleton student who's starting college, looking at having a major in business, and what would you tell them to and then moving forward, what would you give? What advice would you give them on becoming a business person?
First advice I would give them would be you're gonna laugh at what I'm going to tell you, but this comes from a friend of mine from years ago, and he said that he told the people he hired, when you come to work, you should be on the B shift. What's the B shift? Be here when we open, be here when we close. So, that really, there's a lot of truth to that. To our young people, you're going to get out of anything what you put into it. So what you put into it is extremely important. And I think it's important that you understand the opportunities that you have. Today's world is a very interesting world, and I think it provides a lot of opportunities. It provides opportunities for the young people if they want to be entrepreneurs. It provides opportunities if they want to pursue, a corporate environment, or if they want to, be involved in a small business. So the opportunities are there. What they do with them is up to them. And I think the lessons in life are, you follow the golden rule. You always do the things that are right. So, that's where it starts. So for many of us, I think we think about what happens throughout a career. And one of the things that I would encourage them to do is look at their life through the journey of life and how fortunate they are through each chapter of that journey. And mentors become extremely important. I would love to share with them stories about some of the mentors that I've had through my life. And many of those mentors, many of them you don't know until later in life and what impact they've had. So I would tell you there are so many things that can be learned from the lessons, but they're going to learn that their parents were a lot smarter than they thought they were. They're going to learn that their grandparents were a lot more important and smarter than they thought they were. And to me, Tarleton is a very special place, and I do believe that it's the premier university in the state of Texas. And I think that anyone that wants to get a great education, that's a great place to consider. We have today, in my opinion, one of the premier universities led by one of the most impressive young CEOs that I've met. And I will tell you, I've had the pleasure and the privilege of working with some great CEOs that are really highly respected. So I look at, again, rural America. Rural America is really smart. It's really special. And for our young kids growing up in that environment, it's something they probably don't appreciate today as much as they should.
Right. And I think hopefully they're listening to this and that they're taking that, and that we also have opportunities for you to be on campus, to be able to visit with them. I know they really appreciate you, especially in the Dr. Sam Pat College of Business. What are your core values? Can you put those into some words?
So our core values for us are, I think, goes back to the relationships that we talked about earlier, and how we go about, respecting those relationships. So for us, it comes back to the core values of the relationships that we have. I think we also have responsibilities to I come back to our people. I think it all starts with your team, how you handle the responsibilities with the team that you have that's representing you in the community. And I say the community because our involvement in the community is extremely important, and we have an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of those, not just that we serve, but those that are, if you will, much less fortunate than we are. So our core values, I think, are built around relationships that we have. And, the responsibilities, I say it's a privilege, but it's also a responsibility that we have to give back to the communities that we are involved in. Young people, I think we have a responsibility to really try to make sure that we are supporting our young people. When you think about charities, you think about different types of charities, and we spend a lot of time working with our employees on the things that are important to us in our communities and hopefully important to them. And so it's giving of your time and your talent and your treasures to those as well.
Very well said. Thank you for that. I love that. So on the other side of things, what do you do for fun?
Fun is really this is an interesting question with a lot of different answers, because I think fun for me is still coming to work. It's still being involved. It's still being engaged. It's still expanding the horizon from the standpoint of the changes that we're all dealing with. So it's still fun for me to, I think, deal with some of the challenges that we face, which sounds a little bit crazy when you say it's fun, but it's challenging. But the fun part of it is for us, I love spectator sports, especially football, college basketball, watching golf. And the people who know you would tell you that my greatest passion for, I guess, things that are related to our business, but hobbies would be, I am a car collector. So an annual event for me and my family and some of our friends is Pebble Beach. And we get a chance to go out every August. And there are a number of auctions that take place that week. So we spend, I typically go out on a Thursday and come back on a Tuesday. So those are special days for us with our family. And then the other fun things are just the things that we're able to do with our family and our employees. So it's an interesting business that we're in, because, as I shared with you earlier, we get a chance to be involved in lots of different things, and a lot of those are fun things as well.
Very good. So I know you've heard the phrase Bleed Purple. This is the Bleed Purple podcast. It's about what makes the university tick and
Yes.
the blood
Yes.
flow through the university from generation to generation. But what does Bleed Purple mean to you?
Bleed Purple to me means, I think Bleed Purple and I think about DNA and the spirit. And the DNA of Bleed Purple is really a call to be involved. It's a call to have fun. It's a call to make a difference with your, in this case, with all of the different parties associated with Tarleton. And so think about the tradition, and that's Bleed Purple. Think about the opportunities that you have to associate with all of the faculties and the staffs and in this case, your fellow students, where y'all bond and come together to do things back to fun that are the fun things. And Bleed Purple is a purpose, and it's a responsibility, and it's an opportunity. It's a calling for us to come together to do things that are important.
I can't agree more. That's a wonderful answer. Thank you so much. So what is your hope for the future for SAMPAC, for SAMPAC businesses, and for the Dr. SAMPAC College of Business?
So my hope for our businesses is that we have I'm going to use the word challenges facing us. So I have a lot of responsibility. And when I say that, I think about the responsibility that I have to the 1,000+ employees that we have and to my family. And we have 3 generations involved in our business. Myself, our 2 sons, Tony and Todd, and I'll expand on that in a moment. And then recently, our oldest granddaughter, Carly, graduated from Baylor, and she's now involved in the business. So 3 generations, and you look at what's happening with everything that's in this changing world that we're in, and you want to make sure that you are mentoring these individuals, obviously, to be in a position where they can do whatever they would like. If they want to continue to, if you will, pursue the automotive industry and the world that we live in today, great. If they elect to do something differently, then we certainly want to have them to have that option. And at this point, our granddaughter thinks she wants to follow and be in, if you will, in the industry. So that's great news for us. And so our responsibility is to make sure that we are creating an environment that's going to allow her and the others that will be, quote, her, if you will, partners in the business, not from a financial point of view, but from a responsibility point of view, to be successful. So a lot of responsibility that's coming with that. And I say that because of the things that are happening, not just in our industry, but it's happening throughout the world. And many of the so-called traditional things are in the world of change, and you have to recognize that. You have to accept those responsibilities. So, for our business, I hope that they enjoy it as much as I have, and they continue to grow. And I always use the term voice of the customer. In our business, for me, the voice of the customer determines every decision we make. And I hope that they continue to take the voice of the customer into consideration and deliver an exceptional experience, and that they're involved in their communities, that they're going to make a difference in the communities, and they're good stewards of the resources that they have. So for Tarleton State University, I said earlier, special place, special people, incredible leadership. I want to see Tarleton continue to grow. And today, I think we view it as one of the premier conservative universities in the nation. That's, to me, that's a major accomplishment and a great way to, quote, I think about our future. So I want to continue down that path. I want Tarleton to have the best leadership and provide an exceptional experience for our young people, all of our young people who want to bleed purple. For the College of Business, I want it to be recognized as the premier business college in the United States, and one that the people view as the college that the parents and the grandparents and the students all strive to say, this is something I want to be a part of. This is something really special. And get a great education, and then in turn to make a difference in the lives of those that they serve.
Well, Dr. Pack, I just can't thank you enough for giving us this time and for sharing your wisdom and your stories and how we can move forward to the next 25 years. And so we so appreciate that. And thanks to your staff for helping us set all of this up and getting us to the right place and doing that and coordinating this. Your sage advice, more importantly, the model you set for so many people, you will continue to impact generations. And that is so important. And when I say Texas legend, I mean that. I also mean Tarleton legend. And we are so grateful for you. Thank you so much for being a part of the Bleed Purple podcast to celebrate 125 years.
God bless you. It's been a pleasure to have an opportunity to visit with you and to celebrate the 125th anniversary of Tarleton, and its future, in my opinion, is as bright as the beacon of light. And, you know, we are so fortunate to have Dr. Hurley, Kendall, their family, and others that are obviously going to make sure that Tarleton of the future is as bright as the quote past. So for all of us, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you all for your involvement. And we're here to help Tarleton to continue to grow. And I'm just proud to be a part of it. And thank all of you for the sacrifices that you're making. So God bless you.
Are you ready to take control of your financial future? Doug McLemore is the founder of McLemore Financial Group and a proud Tarleton graduate and supporter. The company specializes in providing personalized financial planning and investment strategies tailored just for you. Whether you're saving for retirement, planning for your child's education, or seeking to grow your wealth, their experienced advisors are here to guide you every step of the way. You can find them at 1529 West Lingleville Road in Stephenville, or on the web at mclemoregroup.com, or give them a call at 254-968-1020 to schedule your free consultation. McLemore Financial Group is your partner in financial success. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through McLemore Financial Group, a DBA of Advisor Resource Council, a registered investment advisor. McLemore Financial Group and Advisor Resource Council are separate entities from LPL Financial.